This is a PSA, or public sock announcement. Experts have declared Bombas socks as the best way to warm up chilly feet. These pairs are super cushy, soft, and designed for maximum coziness. Plus, for every pair purchased, another pair will be donated, so someone in need of essential clothing can stay warm this winter. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Millennial Management Podcast. I am your host, Brandy, the Millennial Manager, and today is Wednesday if you are inside of Patreon. If you are outside of Patreon, it is Friday, and I want to wish you a happy motherfucking Friday, okay? Now, here's some housekeeping things. This Saturday, March 8th at 8:30, we are doing a live version of this podcast. Yes, a live version. Now, if you are inside of Patreon, you receive a $3 discount on your ticket. If you are outside of Patreon, it is the full $9. And we come on, people leave their stories in the comments. They leave voicemails for me. They can send me text messages. And the number for you to text is 313-242-7662. Now, this is how you will get your situation read on the air. This is how we'll be able to communicate. You can also send an email to THEE, meal, MILL, management, fully spelled out, pod, okay? POD, all right? At gmail.com, and we'll be pulling from the emails, we'll be pulling from the text messages. If you have a voicemail, like if you want to leave a voicemail, the limit is 3 minutes. So please make sure you summarize your thoughts before you get on. And if you would like the $3 discount code, join Patreon. The code is posted inside of the group so that you're able to use that at checkout. All right. Now let's get to our topic for today. Somebody done stole your damn idea at work. Someone has taken the idea of how to fix this problem, maybe an idea of how to implement something that will make your company more efficient, and they have taken that idea and presented it as their own. Who has had that happen? Right? It has happened before where all of a sudden y'all in this group setting and now the shit that you done came up with is the shit that they done came up with or that y'all came up with together, right? Which we know there was nobody else plugging in those things. I want to talk about that today because I've received a couple emails about it in the past, and I feel like we had some other pressing matters at hand. And so I wanted to kind of circle back to that. Ooh, corporate jargon. I know. But I wanted to circle back to that because it is something that I think people don't realize is a huge issue inside of the workplace. And there are some people who don't even realize that they do this. Okay. It's purely just them speaking in team speak and not realizing that they're diminishing the person who actually came up with this idea, who actually came up with this format, who came up with this idea to make whatever it is that y'all are doing more efficient. And so you just have to be very careful with that. Number one, how do we even find out that this is happening, right? Maybe somebody brought it to your attention. Maybe it actually happened in your face, right? In the meeting, during a presentation, they're taking some of the data, the information that you have discussed in a meeting or in a separate conversation, and they're presenting it to your boss, the directors, whatever. And you are like, what the fuck? This was something that I told you, like, this is my idea. You're putting it in play. Come on. Like, don't try to take credit for the shit that I have come up with. Use your own ideas, right? So let's talk about how we get there in the first place. So if you guys are having a separate conversation and there is a presentation that has to happen and you say, hey, if you use this in your presentation, just give me credit. Be upfront. Be honest. If you use this in a presentation, because everybody knows that presentations are coming up or who's going to be presenting or discussing what, be upfront with the person before they even make the offense. If you let them know what your expectation is, most people, sane people, right, they're not going to cross that boundary. Be upfront. Hey, if you decide to use this in a presentation, can you make sure I get credit, please? Thank you. It's that simple, okay? It's stopping it before it even happens. But let's say you don't necessarily go that route, and maybe those things get presented inside of a meeting where they're discussing some key outcomes, and you are sitting there like, what the hell, right? This is my shit. And you can't really blurt it out. You can't really say it because everything is happening in real time. And we also want to remain professional. So after this offense, if it is actually committed, number one, I will pull that person to the side. Hey, you did such a good job on this presentation. However, I did see that some of the information that I gave you was in this presentation and I hadn't received any credit for that. And I just want to make sure that you know that anytime you use information that is given to you from someone else, please credit that person. Okay? And it's not you wanting a cookie. It's you wanting the proper credit. That is what you should do in your professional career. You don't go around stealing ideas from people and think that nobody's going to correct you on it, number one. So either send them an email, which I always recommend, or you need to have a meeting with the witness, okay? Never tell them anything that is one-on-one, that is not documented by a witness or documented via email. Do you understand me? Everything that you communicate with this person, because they done already showed you that they will steal, okay? They will steal. So if they will steal, they will lie, okay? And they could lie and say, well, she made me feel intimidated. He made me feel intimidated. It was this, it was that, whatever the lie is, to make themselves seem, number one, like the original person for this idea, like they did. And then also make themselves seem like they're being attacked. That's why you need to have a witness, somebody who is unbiased, and also via email, okay? Now, if they are not receptive to you all having a professional conversation to discuss how to properly credit any additives that you put in that are not your own, then you need to make sure that you take this to your manager. That is your next step of escalation. In the conversation with your manager, make sure that you stick to the fact. Do not be emotional, even if that is a natural response because someone is stealing your creative idea, someone is stealing a function that you created. Do not get emotional about it. Don't. Stay in a place of logic, right? I noticed that John used my contributions when he presented his ideas, and I want to make sure that, I receive credit for that, or I would like to discuss that further. Okay? It's almost the same conversation that you just had with John, but now you're directing it towards your manager to let them know, I noticed this and I would like to discuss it further. I'm already letting you know that I know that this has happened. And then number two, there should be some type of outcome. Something should come from this, whether it's an edit to the presentation or a conversation with John, whatever your manager deems is necessary. But it is important that we remain centered and not emotional, okay? Now, if you are someone that kind of struggles with confronting something and you just want to see, okay, I'm not going to let him, get me upset, but I'm also going to let him have this moment, right? We're going to see if it happens again. I feel like this is a grave mistake, not addressing it. I think the first time that there's an offense, it needs to be addressed immediately. And the reason why is I just think that if you don't address things immediately when it happens, or at least within that first offense, that it's going to get worse. You are going to become more emotional about it because you've kind of let this infraction fester and now you are pissed, right? You get to a more pissed off standpoint because you did not correct John the first time that John did it. You are letting him do this constantly to you. And instead of you just coming to him and telling him, you let it fester and you decided to choose your battle. And in reality, you are creating a battle within yourself now because you're frustrated, you're mad. It's going to affect your work. It's going to affect your relationships with people when you just need to tell them, look, motherfucker, I see you. So how do we stop this shit from happening again? Number one, we need to communicate clearly and proactively. Okay. When you are having conversations with people, you want to go back to my first thought, which is, hey, if you happen to use this in, presentation, or if you present it to the higher ups, please make sure that you define, the role or responsibility that I played in this. Give me credit is what you're saying. Okay. Make sure that you keep your manager and team up to date on your progress and contributions via email. Okay. So as you all are discussing, any outcomes with this large project that you have, you also need to keep documentation along the way. And most times when you have a really large project, there are like phases that you have to do. So like phase 1, phase 2. And as you are going through those phases, the information is summarized. And you want to make sure that you are documenting your contributions always. Maintain detailed records of your work, including emails, meeting notes, project updates, like I just mentioned, and also using project management tools to track this. This is very important because your manager reviews what has been put in the project manager. And if you don't make sure this information is in there or that it's accurate, baby, you are giving them the credit. Do you understand me? If it happens like in a conversation, like I've seen this kind of happen where it's like, oh yeah, we decided to do this. Like you can jump in and say, hey, yeah, John did this part and I worked on this, separating what y'all did. Okay, you're still congratulating them in the process, but you're being clear in a very clever way in conversation and separating what tasks were actually completed. So if you have someone that likes to use like, oh yeah, I did this or we did this, you can separate it in conversation and say, yeah, we really worked together as a team. John's idea was this, and then my idea was this. And now you're letting them know I am taking credit for what I did. Yeah, you're not going to overtalk me. You're not going to blurt out and make it seem like, you contributed to this when you did not. This was your idea and this one is mine. And for those of you who are outside of corporate America, you're probably like, oh my God, this is so stupid. But it happens every fucking day. It happens every day because conversations are had a lot. There are a lot of meetings. And when things are thrown out there, when it's presented and it works, you want to make sure that you're the person who received credit for that. It's not a cookie. It's not the same as a cookie. Credit is the person who is responsible for the success, which could affect how you are promoted, which is how you are able to receive promotions and raises and salary increases. Like, come on, man. Come on. Give folk they fucking credit, okay? And stop being afraid to confront shit. You need to be the person, not saying that you bout it all the time, but you do need to be the person that can speak up for themselves. You shouldn't have to have somebody speak on your behalf, okay? You should be tactful enough to have a conversation where people understand clearly where you are. And that's why going to John before presentation, before the conversation with the higher ups, and making sure that it's clear that I want my name in this. Thank you very much. All right, and on to our first email of the episode. This one says, hey, Brandy, it's Betty. I'm freaking out quite a bit. My coworker has presented a project in a team meeting and basically took credit for my entire.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Analysis and proposal. I have all the emails and documents to prove my work, but I'm not sure how I should approach this with my manager. I have attached proof. What should I say to my manager? Do I do this via email? I don't want to come across as petty, but this is a huge deal. Any advice and how to word it? Yes. When you start writing this email, make sure that you are coming with facts, okay? Which you said that you already have information, and I looked at your email, baby, and yes, you do. Yes, you have information that supports this. It is very blatant, and it's inside of this email. I wish I could show y'all. It is a lot of evidence in this email that points to thievery. So please make sure that you are not emotionally charged when you write the email, because you have facts on your side. So you don't need to get overly emotional, overly invested. You simply need to state that you're concerned that the contributions were not accurately represented, that you would like them to discuss the matter further with you and this team member, just like we talked about earlier, to make sure that there is a proper credit, and then also to maintain transparency within your team. Okay. That's in so many words what you need to say. Make sure you have the evidence. Make sure that you have a request for an outcome, right? So you have the offense documented, and now you're telling your manager what you would like to be the outcome of this conversation. And it doesn't lead to like somebody being written up, or, you're not leading with emotion. You're leading with something realistic. Let's maintain transparency, because that is important, of who is doing what within the team. So make sure you come from that place, because if you get in there, excuse me, Betty, or whatever your manager's name is, but such and such, John took my idea and I want him written up, and I this, and it is so unprofessional, and I don't like that. Like, you're coming from a place of emotion. You need to sit down, document your information, which you have already done. But for those of you who are listening and you have not, you need to make sure that you come from a place of logic. Okay. You can even like document the conversation that you had with John previously. If you have already went to John and he has not properly edited or come clean about what has happened, your next step is management, and that's where you need to respond. And on to our next email. This one says, "Hey, Brandy, I was in a union until 2023. My supervisor came to me to take a management position. My supervisor is a Black woman. I have been at my company for 30 years in different union roles. I accepted this position. She blew the job description up like it was the best thing since sliced bread. Not. I have been in the position for 1 year and have received no training. There are days I sit at my desk and have absolutely nothing to do. She micromanages everything. There is no communication when different things are happening in the department unless she wants me to know. Yesterday, our manager had a meeting with the team. I guess I wasn't invited. I asked her what my role is in the department because I feel I do not belong. She says, and I quote, "Specific tasks are still being determined in your new role." What the fuck does that even mean? You've been in the position for a year. It's not new. And they promoted you to this position. Like, what the hell? Additional duties will be assigned as they become available. What kind of bullshit is that? So now the company is about to start layoffs, and I'm assuming after management gets their bonuses in March, and I am fearful that I'm on the chopping block. I have been proactive with getting my resume together and looking to see what is out there, but in the meantime, what do I do? I do my daily task and scroll on my phone and try to look busy. I hate going to work now. I have never been in a position like this. I like to stay busy. There's more, but thanks for listening. Sister, let me tell you, my honest opinion, you hate your job, right? Because there is no real leadership, guidance, support, none of those things that can really help you be good at your job and also to enjoy it, right? It's important to like what you do. You're probably about to get laid off, and I'm going to tell you why. You've been in a position for a year and they have not really assigned a job description to you. That is crazy. And your company is about to start layoffs. You are about to get fired. Okay? I know that's a hard thing, but I think that's exactly what's about to happen. I'll be very surprised if you are not about to be terminated or laid off. And you should probably be welcoming this because you are with a manager that is unorganized. She seems like she does not have any communication skills. She has not worked with a team in any way, because what the hell is this? How do you get somebody in a position, but you don't have an outline for them? There's no clear understanding of what's expected and what's supposed to be done. And I just feel like that's a little bit messy. And this is a welcomed termination. I know that it's going to be scary for you to get back out into the job market because you've been working at this company for 30 years. If I were you, I would maybe try to find something else within the company if you can quickly. If there are some things maybe opening up in a different department, maybe that can provide a little safety net for you. But this job is not for you. Whatever the hell she got cooked up, it's just not worth it. I also don't understand why you had to highlight that she was black. I don't understand what that had to do with that, because plenty of white women do shit like this too. So I'm not understanding why that was necessary, because you didn't communicate anything else. But I definitely think that is what's about to come down, is you are about to be terminated or let go, and she knows that. So she's not giving you too much to do, because it'll be too much for her to take back and train you and all this other stuff, because she knows you're about to get laid off. So I'm sorry, but you need to know the truth. And on to our next email. This one says, hi, I started with a company this past May. So May 2024. Okay, guys. She continues, I received a yearly evaluation and received 1.8% raise increase or pay increase. Am I justified in being upset? I have no disciplinary issues, no corrective actions documented. I am never late for work. I have plenty of PTO available, meaning I'm always there. I have never received such a low score. I think I'm getting fired. Wait a minute. The raise is not your score. A 1.8 is like your increase on your pay, and it's an annual review, and you haven't been there long enough for an annual review, and they gave you a raise. They gave you almost a 2% raise before your 1 year. So I don't think this is a negative thing. I think you might be thinking too much into this. A 1.8% does not mean that you scored 1.8. That means that your work is good and they're able to give you that raise based on the company's raise structure, right? That doesn't mean that you are receiving a 1.8. For annual increases, you receive a increase annually, and you received one well before your 1 year. So I would not be upset about that. That's actually really good that they gave you a raise. It's not what everybody will want. Of course, people will want 5, 10%, but no. With just being at a company for less than a year and they already give you a raise, that is a good sign. That means that they are interested. They feel like you're doing good work. They feel like you're doing a good job. So the 1.8%, unless there's a little bit more here because you did not include anything else, and context is very important, guys. That's how I'm able to give you advice when y'all are writing emails. Please make sure that you include like some background information that can kind of support what this is. But I think you are just having anxiety. this is actually very good. You're doing a good job. 1.8 does not reflect your score. That is just what the company could give you as a raise. So I would be just thankful and keep doing what you're doing, because clearly you're doing a good job. And as you continue, I'm sure, because you got a raise before your 1 year, that they're going to give you another one. So please continue what you're doing, not overthink it, and don't get frustrated and feel like you're doing a bad job. I think your anxiety is just talking to you right now. So chill, girl. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to the podcast. Please make sure you rate it and tell me how much you love it. Give me 5 stars. If you would like your email read on the podcast, just send it over to meal, MILL, management, fully spelled out, pod, POD, at gmail.com. Or you can give us a phone call for our live event that is on Saturday, the 8th. Please make sure you purchase your ticket. If you are inside of Patreon, you do have a discount code. It is $3 off, so it's $6 for Patreon. And then, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to put the link to for everyone to buy their tickets inside of the information section of the podcast. If you have any questions at all, make sure you email those over, and I'll see y'all on the internet. You have a wonderful day. Patreon, you have a good ass Wednesday, because y'all paid for this early. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast. And for everybody else, y'all have a good motherfucking Friday, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.